Hey Simmers, welcome to my town. This is Joy's Creative Finger, and today we'll be looking at a hospital in my town. I chose to build this on this plot because there's some spaces at the side, which isn't the case for most of the plots in the town, so it's quite unique. You might say maybe it's grounds for the ambulances and such. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look. It's a monster of a build, but at the same time it's on a standard lot, which is something I'm getting used to because previously I would always pick a giant premium size lot for this sort of structure, be it a hotel, the spa and stuff like that. I just think it's best to try and utilize these plots. A lot could be done with them. I have a lot of glass windows around, and you can see on the inside that there are walls further in behind those glasses because those are corridors. So there's a lot of privacy within the building and the units and the wards. This is the front, the entrance. There is some seating to the left and to the right of the accident and emergency entrance. I think in America they'd say the ER, but in the UK we call it the A&E. So yeah, there are some lovely seating areas to sit and wait, assuming it got really stuffy in the emergency waiting room area. It's mirrored across the other way as well. And these are the double doors that I rotated to create that circle in between that lead into the hallway just before coming into the waiting room right here. Now I set these chairs around in order, as you can see, and just place that table in between. I think it's a Neo Tokyo table. So yes, this is the waiting area. We've got people with babies, children and such. This is the receptionist nurse, as it were, who would attend to anyone and inform the registered nurse doctors about arrivals. I have a lift on the right and left of the reception that both go up to the wards and different parts of the hospital, and that's the toilets. Male and female toilets with separate entrances, but I'm just going to go into just the one. As I say, it's a big build and I'm going to do what I can to be as quick as possible so that it can be a short and quick but yet informative video. Now this is the ER rooms where people who have sustained injury quickly have to come in and be seen by student doctors, training doctors, or even well-trained ones as well. And it's mirrored here as well. They can come in through those double doors when they are sent for and then given a place to lay down and be investigated and looked over, as it were. In that corridor leads downstairs, and we will be looking at that towards the end. We have another staircase going down as well, but we are going to go up the lift. This is the ambulance entrance, so they come straight in and up the elevator without any obstruction, around again through the corridors that I showed you earlier on from the body of the building. That's an entrance to the ward, and the doors lead out from that corridor to the lifts. That's why I have that structure. It'll all lead up to the very top. This lift also leads up from the emergency room area and comes round through to the ward, the main ward, and the door also leads out from the end of that corridor to the lifts. So as I say, this is a main ward. We have 4 cubicles in here, and we have a seating area in the middle, say to wait for a bed to be prepared for you. These are the nurses in this office, and the units at the back there would contain all the medications and drip items that would be used to take care of the patients in this ward. It's a simple ward, a green rickety bed, a green couch for your visitor to come and see you, a unit in the corner to keep your personal belongings, and a sink. The design is also mirrored across the other side of the ward in the same fashion, and the occupants of this ward make use of 2 adequately sized bathrooms. So this is once again an overview of the ward on this floor. So I'll go ahead and swing around this way, and through the corridors, as I mentioned earlier, lead to these lifts that go up to the next floor where I have my operating theatres. You can also call them operating rooms. The OR, I have operating room 1 and operating room 2. So I think it's adequate for the town to have 2 operating rooms to attend to the Sims. I organized this room this way. I have an inner cubicle with a sort of visual television there to view the operating technique taking place, and the staff can go in there and, you know, organize and prep for the patient, as it were. Now there is an ambulance entrance I mentioned earlier on. You go straight through an unobstructed corridor, up the lift, around the main ward, out to the lift, up we go, and into the operating theatre. So that's the access way into this place. It's very important that there isn't any obstruction. Now going up to the next floor, you have to take these set of stairs from the OR up to the next floor, which is my Pediatric Ward, simply a ward for the children in this hospital. So it's organized in that the left side has the girls and the right side has the boys. This is the main office section for the nurses. They keep the folders and some storybooks as well for the kids. And the white units behind them, you know, hold all the medication and items needed to treat the children to get better. The wards, as I say, are organized in the same fashion as the ward downstairs. They have a large bathroom to use for their personal needs, and also the boys section has a similar arrangement, and they also have that bed, a lovely urban chair, and the units in the corner for personal belongings, and a sink as you would need in a hospital. They have a large bathroom for their use as well, right at the end of their cubicles. There are emergency exit doors as well, so the corridors at the back there are very useful. In the case of an emergency, they can all leave via these doors at the back. So yes, it's a children's ward, and I try to, you know, inject a flash of color into the space without it looking, you know, very busy with these colors. That's why there's a lot of white in there to freshen it up a bit. So leaving this ward, you have to take the stairs. I chose stairs in this case because they're even with the top balcony. The lifts would have been protruding right up, standing tall, which wasn't very nice. So we come up to this floor. There's a seating area to enjoy the rooftop, a couple of them to sit down, take in some air. And there are some bathrooms to the left and right of the top of this building for the men, and another one to the other end for the ladies. If I take the roof off, then you can see what it looks like inside. And this brings us to the main cafeteria for both the staff, patients' loved ones who need to come and sit down and eat, maybe after having spent a long day with their loved ones. There's a seating area in the corner to take in the view and, you know, just get some time away from the bedside of your loved one. And across the way as well, you might take time to visit the gift shop You've got get well soon cards, chocolates, balloons, flowers, teddies, you know, for the bedside of your loved one as needed. So that's the rooftop cafe for both staff and patients, loved ones to come and sit down and have something to eat. Now we have one more place to view, and that's the basement. So we'll go straight down to the ER room where I showed you 2 staircases that lead down to the basement here. So this is how it works basically. You have this doctor attending to you as soon as you come into the ER. He gets maybe a sample of your bloods taken, and then he goes down the stairs to the lab. And here we have the phlebotomist working hard at the samples. I placed these 2 fridges here because it's called blood bank fridge. Fancy that. So it's quite suitable. You can imagine the different types of blood that have been stored in there in case that was needed in the OR. We have a science project in the corner there, and perhaps they would look under these lights to view some samples from the patients. I used this thing from the spooky collection to sort of represent another sort of unit that allows us to culture patient samples. We've got another seat for another phlebotomist, and these play sort of binoculars to look like real ones, and this light here is sort of like a test tube, you know, for samples once again. So this is sort of how I organized this area to look like a lab, and that's where the doctor or first doctor you had contact with would have come down to bring your samples to get checked as soon as possible. Now obviously if you're okay, he'd come back up and say you're okay and, you know, be gone or something. Otherwise they'd come through to this area where we have our senior consultant doctor who makes very big decisions. So assuming something was terribly wrong, he would come here and inform the doctor and seek advice on the next thing to do. This is the office for this senior consultant. Having the need to work very long hours, he also or she also has a bathroom where they can bath, use the facility and change and carry on working to the next day. Across the waiting area is a boardroom where a lot of serious decisions are made. They put up samples up on the screen, you know, your scans, your x-rays, and they also have a room in here with files where they can make references to previous cases similar to that of the sim that is being looked into. So that's what we have in this area for the basement and for the staff, the main staff of the building to operate out of. Straight across the big hall is the main kitchen. So in here we have the chefs that cook all the meals that are brought round on the trolleys to the different wards in the hospital. They also liaise with the cafe upstairs at the tippy top, as you've seen earlier. Across the way in the same basement we have the laundry room. It also serves as a locker room in some way, so the nurses or the doctors or the surgeons can get their scrubs from here, clean ones. The beddings as well used in the hospital also come from that room. So that's it for the entire basement of the hospital. I like to use those curtains because I do remember when I had use at the hospital, we had these curtains that the doctors pull over and pull shut whenever they came in to see you. So that's why I use those. So that's the general overview of the different floors. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment, give me a thumbs up if you like it, and a subscription would be useful for upcoming videos.